turning 250, and it's time to rock out with our forefathers. American-made, battle-ready style for true patriots. Whether you're marching in the parade, grilling in the backyard, or raising a toast to liberty, do it in the gear that screams freedom. Celebrate 250 years of USA in style. Wear your American pride loud. Trendjackers.etsy.com. Grab yours before the fireworks.
From Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown, this is Sportsbash presented by Ticketbash.com. Ticketbash.com, where memories are made affordable and where you'll never pay a service fee. Get the best seats at the best prices at Ticketbash.com. Sportsbash is also presented by Ryan Anthony's Heating and Air Conditioning Service, keeping Long Island warm for over 18 years, serving their customers in Nassau and Suffolk with pride, honesty, and integrity. For more information, visit www.liboilers.com. Well, hi again, everyone. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm Peter Schwartz. Welcome to Sports Bash. 516-465-3990 is the number to call. Make sure you're subscribing to Govs Comedy Club podcast channel on YouTube and Facebook, and follow Sports Bash Media on X, Instagram, and Facebook. You can also listen to the show on Apple Music, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Coming up on the show, I'll be joined by former News 12 anchor Amy Mcgorry, who, as we mentioned on the show on Thursday, is in need of a live liver donor. So we're going to talk to Amy on the show. She's been an FOP. She was a friend of Peter, co-host a year ago, December. That was not any noise from the backside. That was Tony. That was Tony Walker, my producer, and the host of the Knock 'em Dead comedy show, Monday through Friday from 11 to 12:30, adjusting a camera in the studio. So don't be disgusted by that noise you just heard. Because I can only imagine, like, what was that noise? Did Peter do something while he was sitting there in the seat? No, that was like Tony. He always does? Yeah, I do not, Tony. Again, taking shots at me here on the show. So, but yes, so we're going to have Amy on the program in a little bit. We're also going to be joined by sports betting expert Kelly Stewart, also known as Kelly in Vegas. We're going to talk to her about March Madness, Major League Baseball, and the upcoming NBA and Stanley Cup playoffs. We'll also have the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day, what's hot at ticketbash.com, and the coach's collectibles item of the week. In a few minutes, we're going to have a surprise guest. A surprise former Jet is going to call in a few minutes, for a few minutes. And we're going to get to that in a second. But we have another surprise guest who is in the studio, and I don't want to waste any time while we have him here because he's brought a present for me. And we always like free stuff here on the show. My friend Sean Connors, a diehard Islanders fan, and you're dressed appropriately for the day today with the Green Islander jersey. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, Peter. Absolutely.
So Sean, a huge Islanders fan, he's also an artist. And if you remember when we had Shannon Hogan on the show last week, we showed you the latest piece of masterpiece that Sean, and he's done some great stuff. He's done a Mike Bossy piece that I proudly hang in my home. So thank you for that. But I think my favorite thing that you've done in the past was the Matt Martin Stadium Series. At Yankee Stadium. That I have to tell you, I think that might be of all the things you've done, that might be my favorite. But your latest masterpiece, which it's been a godsend for the Islanders, and that's rookie Matthew Schaefer. So we showed it on the show last week. So why don't you show everybody? Want to hold it up to the camera, Tony? Which is the best spot for him to hold it up?
Right in front of you.
Right in front of him.
All right.
So
perfect.
this is a Matthew Schaefer painting.
This way a little bit.
Okay. Yeah.
From his first NHL goal in the Islanders' home opener against the Washington Capitals. And has he seen it? Do you know if he's seen it yet?
I'm sure he has.
Yeah.
He's been, I've tagged him a few times on Instagram, so I would say he's probably seen it. Have I gotten a response yet? No, that's okay.
Awesome.
Listen.
Let me see that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful. It really is. Thank you so much.
No, absolutely.
Now I have to go shopping for a frame later.
Right. These are 20 by 16s. It's poster paper, gloss.
I'm going to hold it behind you. Can people see it if I hold it behind? Drop it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's drop it down a little
Got
bit.
a gloss. I'm really happy with the prints, the way they came out. Honestly, they did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Each print I have is I've limited to, these are 1 of 30. The other ones are 1 of 100.
Okay.
And I'm calling them the first edition prints. So, and I can always be reached out through, my DMs on.
That was going to be the next question. If someone wants to get this print, how do they get a hold of you?
Through Twitter on 106 Bucket Art. Just shoot me a DM. Same on Instagram at Sean's1470. Same thing. DM me. I'll discuss prices and shipping and etc.
Right, and and you have other works too. So if
I do.
people are interested, they can inquire. I talked about the Mike Bossy. I talked about the Matt Martin. Is Matt Martin still in print? Still available?
No, that one I don't have.
Yeah,
that was
you don't
actually
have?
a 1 of 1, and
That was a 1 of 1.
That was a 1 of 1, and that went to Matt.
It went to
Yep, yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
I have asked him about that before when I've seen him.
That was a
at
fun
practices and games. That was really good. I was at that game with my son Bradley, freezing our asses off at that game. Were you at the game?
No, I was in the comforts of home watching that game because it was too cold for me.
So funny story about that. It was so cold because that was the night game because the Rangers had played the Devils on a Sunday afternoon a few days before. That was a night game. It was so cold. Bradley and I basically escaped to the Yankees team store in between periods, and what they were doing was they were kicking people out because they didn't want people just standing in there.
Right.
So I said to him, when we go in, just pick up something. Look like we're shopping.
Gotcha.
Say, hey, Dad, what do you think of this? What do you think of this?
Yep. Just
and
to stay warm.
And there's people in there. They're just standing around. They're idiots. They're standing around, and they're getting kicked out. And so we were in there both periods, just shopping away. Really quick before we get to my surprise guest, are the Islanders going to make the playoffs?
They better.
They better is a good answer.
I'm not going to say yes or no, but they better. Tonight's a big game. I'm looking forward to tonight's game.
No question. Anytime we can beat John Tavares is great. Now it's time for, and thank you, Sean, for stopping
Peter,
by.
thank you.
Thank you for the print. Hopefully you can stick around and watch a little bit more of the show. It's time for our surprise Jets guest. Now, today is the St. Patrick's Day Parade in Manhattan. The Marty Lyons Foundation, the official charity of Sports Bash Media, was marching in the parade. I got a tip that this guy was in the parade marching with Marty Lyons. So I said, let's ask him if he'll call in at the show. And he said yes. It is a good friend of mine, former Jets fullback, Tony Richardson, joining us here on Sports Bash. Tony, it's Peter. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. I'm actually starting to thaw out a little bit. So we made it all the way up to about 79.
Uh-huh.
And Marty was like, hey, are you coming to the after party? I was like, you know what? So guess what I did on St. Patrick's Day? I made the Irish exit. So I can get it. Oh, my God. Literally, I'm telling you, because I didn't, and I even told Kenny, who's, works with Marty in the foundation, I was like, okay, I'm not going to because last year I bought way too much stuff. And I was like, can you bring me a hoodie? No, I had a hoodie, no gloves. My ears were freezing, so I'm warming up now. So, it was a good time.
We're looking at a picture of you, Marty, and Kenny Schroy. Marty and Kenny co-founded the Marty Lyons Foundation some 43, 44 years ago. When Marty Lyons picks up the phone and asks you to march in the parade, it's very, very difficult to say no to Marty, right?
You know what's funny is, like, and I tell Marty this all the time, and I think sometimes I embarrass him, but Marty has been a tremendous mentor, a role model, everything you can ask for. I mean, obviously, everything in his life he's done right. And once I started to, we've been at some of these events together, but the work that he's doing behind the scenes that a lot of people don't know, like, he was telling me just, I guess, a couple of weeks ago, they granted a wish in Houston. I think it was for a young man who wanted a basketball court. So did they not only build him a basketball court, they built him a full basketball court for his backyard. So Marty's been, only thing that I don't like about Marty is obviously I went to Auburn. He went to Alabama. So outside of that, Marty, he's been an incredible, role model, mentor. And like you said, if Marty calls you and I see his name, I immediately pick, and all you have to do is just say, can you? I say yes. Will you? I say yes. And then I'm always going to be there for Marty because he's a tremendous role model.
He's unbelievable, and it's amazing to me. And I host his NFL draft party, the Marty Lyons Foundation NFL draft party, every year at Great South Bay Brewery here on Long Island. And, of course, the draft is coming up on April 23rd, and I'm very excited to be back doing that. And I tell the joke every year. I start by saying, if you would have told 14-year-old Peter Schwartz sitting in the upper deck at Shea Stadium watching the Jets beat the crap out of the Packers to make the playoffs, that one day I'd be hosting Marty Lyons' draft party, I would have said, you're crazy. And it means so much to me. And it's a great foundation. And I really wish I could have walked in the parade today, but I had the show to do. Tell me from your perspective, how much fun was it to march in the parade today and obviously representing Marty's foundation?
Yeah, it's always a great time because, last year Marty was actually honored. And this year, so Marty said, hey, let's wear our rivals' Jets jerseys. But interestingly enough, a lot of people, a lot of fans didn't recognize the jerseys. So they would see the people behind it and be like, hey, go Jets. But we already walked by. But, and the number of wishes that Marty has granted. But just the energy in the city, like, some people recognize us as former Jets. Some people just saw us walking, but the energy throughout the city today was incredible. And even though it was cold, there was babies, there were kids, there was adults. It was great. So every time Marty asked me to participate, I'm always going to be there. But it was a lot of fun.
So I have to ask you, Tony, the draft is coming up. The Jets are in the middle of free agency, making some moves, trying to get things going in the right direction. When you look at this Jets team right now as they continue preparations for 2026, do you see them as having a chance to get things turned around under GM Darren Muji and head coach Aaron Glenn?
Yeah, actually I do, because I think the biggest thing is obviously, I think you do know, but I'm a mentor at the Combine every year, and so I got a chance to, me and Steven Jackson got a chance to mentor the running backs, but also got a chance to spend a lot of time with the quarterbacks and things of that nature. So there was a few guys that I kind of thought that the Jets may have their eyes on, but I think the best thing they did, and to me, I think it's the best offseason move, was bringing Geno back, because you cannot win. You can't even start to build until you have a quarterback. And I think bringing Geno back, it's not like he has anything to prove, but I can just tell his energy of just coming back to a place that initially didn't work out so well, and just wanted to come back, and not necessarily he needs to rewrite the script, but I think he's coming in with a different energy. He has great leadership. He's now a little hardened, and I think sometimes to be a New York Jet quarterback or even a New York Giant quarterback, you got to have gone through some stuff. You have to be a little hardened. So I think that was great. So now it gives you a little bit more flexibility as far as, you know, what else you need to pick up in free agency and also how you go about the draft. Because, you know, I think you and I have talked about this, Peter. I think the number one thing when you start building your team, you start from the inside out. And the more offensive linemen, the more defensive linemen, the more guys you could build in that middle, then that gives you an opportunity to be good around. Bringing DeMario Davis back is, I mean, that to me.
Oh, I love that move. I love that.
Oh,
They draft him. Tony, they drafted him. They let him go. They got him back in the building, and they let him go again. I couldn't believe it. Now he's back for a third time. I'm so happy.
Hey, listen, the only other guy they could bring back that I would just like do a backflip for if we brought Kelvin Vincent back. Like those guys are like, and those are the guys when I, you know, as I started transitioning once I retired, like DeMario was just a guy, like I was surprised that we let him out the second time, but now it seems like he's going to be here. And even a guy like him, like the leadership that he's going to bring, the character that he brings, like everything about DeMario Davis. And then also another Alabama guy, which I'm not gonna hold that against him, Micah Fitzpatrick. Like these guys, like these are. I mean, you think about it. You got your defensive line taken care of. Now you got a linebacker. Now you got a safety. That's the core of your team. Now you got a quarterback. You got me. So now you're starting to build in the right direction. And I think from here, I mean, it's not like I'm gonna say, hey, you know, next year the Jets are gonna be in the Super Bowl or even the playoffs. But I just feel like you're building the core of it, just like building a house. You build a great foundation, and everything else goes from it. And I think the moves that they've made so far have been really good.
Well, Tony, I can't thank you enough for joining us last second as a surprise. I will always be indebted to you. One night I was doing the overnight on WFAN, and I get a text message. From Tony. Hey, can I call into the show? And I'm like, how cool!
It was like 2 in the morning. I think it was like 1:32 in the morning.
It was in the middle of the night. You should have been sleeping. And here it is. I get a text from a former Jet, and I had Tony on live on WFAN overnight. I will always be indebted to you for that, and thank you for joining us here at the last minute. And enjoy the rest of the day. And happy St. Patrick's Day.
Hey, happy St. Patrick's Day to you as well. Anytime you need me, brother, I'm always here.
You got it. Thank you so much, Tony.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Tony Richardson, former Jets fullback, just an awesome guy, and could not be happier that he joined us. Really quick, the Sports Bash Flash, presented by the Marty Lyons Foundation, 6th Annual Marty Lyons Foundation NFL Draft Party is April 23rd at Great South Bay Brewery in Bayshore. For more information, please visit martylyonsfoundation.org. Sean, I expect you to be at the Marty Lyons Foundation Draft Party.
Sounds good.
Okay? Well, we'll figure out a way to get you in.
We'll get over there.
I love the event. It's awesome every single year. The Jets, and by the way, I don't have much green in my wardrobe, so of course, really the only green I have is Jet stuff. So that's why on St. Patrick's Day I'm all decked out in Jet stuff. Otherwise, there's not really, most times, not really a whole lot of opportunity to pound my chest that I'm a Jets fan, because really there's nothing to pound my chest about, especially in recent years. But we're all dressed, decked out today for St. Patrick's Day. The Jets are reportedly trading quarterback Justin Fields to the Chiefs in exchange for a 2027 6th-round pick. WBC championship game tonight in Miami. USA against Venezuela, who beat Italy last night 4-2. Exhibition baseball, the Nationals over the Mets 12-6. Today, the Yankees visit the Rays. The Mets visit the Marlins. NHL, the Devils beat the Bruins in overtime 4-3. Rangers lost to the Kings 4-1. Tonight, the Islanders are in Toronto. Basketball, Blazers over the Nets 114-95. Tonight, the Knicks host the Pacers. That's what's happening. The Sports Bash Flash is presented by the Marty Lyons Foundation. I had a chance yesterday to go to a really cool event that the Islanders invited me to go to. They have a great program called the Play It Forward program that they combine with Northwell Health. And what it does is it gives an opportunity for kids who are underprivileged and live in low-income areas. They would never have a chance to get ice time. They would never have a chance to get hockey equipment. And the Islanders and Northwell Health do a great job combining to give these kids, and last night it was a group of kids who were 8 years old to 10 years old, on the ice, learning how to skate, learning how to play hockey. And one of the instructors last night at the event was former Islander Aaron Asham. And I had a chance before the event last night to catch up with former Islander Aaron Asham. Well, Aaron, what does it mean for you to be involved here with Play It Forward and put that Islander logo on again?
Oh, it's it's always nice, getting out there, kind of giving back to the community, and being a part of this for the last 4 years. It's been great. It's every year it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and Northwell's doing a great job, and the Islander, they're a top-notch organization, and we're just trying to touch as many kids as we can, and get them loving this great game of hockey.
You see the kids loving the great game of hockey, but do you notice a little extra special feeling they have when they get to be on the ice with a guy who played in the NHL?
I think a lot of them are too young to remember me, but
mom and dad have to tell them, right?
Exactly. So it's nice. I try to do as much as I can with them out there. Like you said, they're just beginners, but we're making it fun for them. We're getting them moving around, and trying to make it the best experience possible.
What's the biggest message you give to a young player? Maybe they're learning the game for the first time. What's the message you try to get across to them?
I think just get out there and have fun. I think that's the most important thing is, if they're out there, they're enjoying themselves, they're having fun, they're going to want to come back and do it again. And, that's our goal out there is to make sure everyone's moving around, they're enjoying the great game, and, they're having the time of their lives.
I have to ask you, what do you think of the current Islanders? I mean, so you played for them for a number of years. What do you think of this team now as they battle for a playoff spot?
It's exciting. What can we say about Matthew Schaefer coming in here and basically turning this organization around? It's one that it's so much tradition here, and I love working for him. I love being around. I love being on the ice, and I love representing them.
So I have to tell you a funny story. Last time I saw you, I was here doing public address for an LIU women's hockey game, and I'm looking at the other team's roster before the game, and I see this name Ocean Asham, and I'm like, there's got to be some kind of relation. And I Google it, and it's his daughter. So I came out here in between periods, and you're the first person who I see after the period. You must be extremely proud that another Asham is playing hockey.
Oh, it was definitely. She's done playing now. She's now. She works on a reservation in Ontario. She's now a police officer. So, but seeing her, the Asham on the back of the jersey, being one of your children was definitely special, and it was definitely great watching her for 2 years.
And just last thing, back to Play It Forward. For you to be back on the ice, got to be pretty cool after your NHL playing career, and now you get a chance to take that expertise that you had from playing in this league and passing it down.
Yeah, it's great. Like I said earlier, just giving back and being out there. These kids are quite characters, and some of the things they say is quite funny. So just being out there and making sure, like I said, making sure they're having a good time is what's most important.
Lots of thanks to former Islander Aaron Asham. He did such a great job with these kids last night. I'm telling you, so many smiles on these kids' faces, learning how to play hockey. It was just wonderful to see. And again, I don't want to sound like a shill for the Islanders, because some people have called me a shill for the Islanders because I hardly ever speak anything badly. And look, when I have to, I do. But you show me another team in this area, and I'm not saying that the other teams don't do stuff for the community, but you'll be hard-pressed to find a team in the area that does more for the community than the Islanders do. And I've talked about Ann Rinna so many times here on the show. They're Director of Community Relations, and they do a great job, and they have a great partnership with Northwell Health to put these things on. And, the Play It Forward last night, again, to see these kids get this opportunity to learn how to play hockey. Now, some might not go all the way through. Three kids each year get picked for a scholarship that gives them 3 years of ice time and equipment and a chance to play hockey. Some of them may never go back on the ice after last night, but it was just so wonderful to see. And Aaron Asham has been involved in this for 4 years now and was back there last night. It was great to catch up with him and see him there last night as one of the coaches for the Islanders Northwell Health Play It Forward program. It's time for the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day. It is brought to us by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Every customer is considered family at the Embassy Diner. Mention Sports Bash and get a free dessert with your meal. We post a new poll question every Tuesday and Thursday on the Sports Bash Media X/Twitter page. WBC Championship tonight, USA against Venezuela. It's been an amazing tournament so far, and here is the question. When the WBC returns in 2029, when should it take place? During spring training, as it has been, or should it be played in place of the All-Star game in the middle of the season? And I'll go to Tony first. WBC spring training as it is now, or move it to mid-season in place of the All-Star game?
Mid-season.
Mid-season. I'm mid-season. Sean, what do you think?
I like where they are now. I enjoy that. So that's
Okay.
kind of like a positive for me, and I guess the players to play.
The NHL is bringing the World Cup of Hockey back in 28. They're going to play it in the middle of the season in place of the All-Star game. We are going to bypass the commercial break here. We'll get to a break a little bit later on in the show. Former News 12 anchor Amy Mcgorry. If you remember, she was the first ever FOP here on the show when we started the FOP Friends of Peter program, where I bring in a friend of mine in the business, whether sports, news, or music, whatever it might be. She was the very first one. I was thinking about it when we started doing this. I'm like, Amy has to be the first guest because she's been such a good friend and a good colleague over the years. We had to have her on, but we bring her on today for a different reason. She is in need of a life-saving living liver donor. She's been battling 2 different chronic liver diseases for the majority of her life. There is no cure for either disease at this time. Amy has been fighting, but her liver has given everything it can, and she is in dire need of a living donor. And she joins us here on Sports Bash via Zoom. Hi, Amy. How are you? That's actually a stupid question, but thank you very much for joining us.
No, it's good to be here. I love being around positive energy and good things. And it's nice to be reminded that I do have friends and that I was the first of your friends. So thank you very much.
Yes.
And I like that you're wearing green today.
Yes. Well,
Lucky the Irish.
as a Jewish person, I don't have much green in my attire other than Jet stuff. So this was really the only thing to pick today.
You know what? This is why I love sports. So, you're talking about like obviously I've had liver disease the majority of my adult life, and I've always kept it quiet. Didn't want to talk about it. I was always like, just take your medicines, live a healthy lifestyle. But, I wasn't, couldn't drink, do anything like that. So socially, that's how I got into sports. And I was so lucky to have started out as a sports anchor, because it's a way to still socialize and not be so involved with just alcohol or anything else. And so, and plus it's such a good escape. It shows you people facing adversity and how they just are so strong. So yeah, so I'm in a bit of a March Madness right now, but
yeah. Well, I'll get to the March Madness because I know you're a huge college basketball fan. I'll get to that in a little bit, but I want to talk about your story and your need for a living liver donor. So bring us up to date when you learned about this. We saw the the video you put on Facebook. And by the way, we're showing in between my video and you on camera is your flyer with the QR code for people who might be interested in helping out. There's a QR code that we're showing on the screen, so you could scan that and get more information. So Amy, if you could just bring everybody up to date on when you realized the situation was as dire as it is right now, and you're in need for that living liver donor.
Yeah, it just a few months ago, this all started showing up around August. All of a sudden I passed out one day and I just thought, I'm tired, we're under stress, you burn the candle at both ends. I wind up in the ER, and my hemoglobin, it should be like a 12 to 14, was down to a 7. I had to go for blood transfusions. In that first hospital stay, they're like, I don't know, you got some bone marrow edema. It's probably the medicines maybe that you're taking for this liver disease. So tried to mess around with that. Then a few months later, again, back in the ER with some stomach stuff. And I'm like, what is going on? But 2 weeks ago, a month ago today, February 17th, I drove home and I'm like, man, I'm about to pass out. Drove into one of my neighbor's driveways and then just boom, went down and passed out. I woke up and I grabbed my phone. I call a neighbor. I'm like, just get me to the hospital. Wind up in the hospital. They had to do like 4 different procedures. Apparently what's happened is And the guy wakes me up from this, and he's like, "Listen, I'm rushing you over to Cornell to their liver team. You need a liver transplant." I'm like, "Whoa, wait, time out. I thought this thing was contained, under control." He's like, "No, what happens is the liver forms so much pressure with PBC. It's primary biliary cholangitis, or it used to be called cirrhosis. It's just the body attacks the bile duct, and then the liver just half of my bile ducts are gone. So now the liver's not functioning well. It forms these like balloon varicosities in the esophagus and the stomach, and then they just pop and you internally bleed. So, God forbid, it's a life threatening situation. You're either going to bleed out or you got to get to that hospital and somebody cauterize it and get this thing going. So they're like, this is going to be your life until you get a new liver. And they're like, so now I'm like, oh my God, when's it going to happen again? Like, it's so random. I don't have warning. All of a sudden you just get this weird stomach pain and then you get dizzy and boom. So that began the whole thing between, like, I credit the guys at St. Francis for saving my life. And then they got me over to Cornell. Cornell Medical has been, fantastic. But now the search is because PBCers don't score like the other type of liver diseases. We don't rank as high. So I can't get on that list high enough to get a liver donor. So they're like, your best bet is to get a living liver donor, because you want to get it now before things get worse, before you wind up in an ICU or unable to handle the surgery. Like right now, you can handle the surgery. So we need to get this done now. So I literally was like, are you kidding me? Like, you guys are wrong, So then I was like, no, it's not. It's like Monty Python. I'm like, it's just a flesh wound,
Yeah.
But,
well,
I
know what? You've always had like a great sense of humor. And even in this situation, for you to still have that speaks to the person who you are.
I have to. Otherwise, I literally cry every single day. Like, I wake up every morning and I'm like, I literally cry for a little bit. And then I'm like, oh, I don't want to be one of those people. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. So I'm like, let me cry. And then let me just laugh at this, because if I don't laugh, I'm really going to lose it.
Yeah. Let me let everybody know exactly what we're talking about here. So you're in need of a living liver donor. And just so for people who don't know, like, well, what happens to the person who donates the liver? Yeah. Well, you only need a piece of it. So someone only has to donate a piece of the liver, and it regenerates in 8 to 12 weeks. And then the piece that would go into Amy obviously grows into a regular sized liver. So people need to know that. Your transplant center is Weill Cornell. They do extensive testing to ensure the donor's safety. And here's the criteria. Blood type O positive is what is needed here. And the donor has to be ages 20 to 60 years old and willing to undergo compatibility testing. Amy, what are your doctors telling you about this process and what the chances are of finding a donor?
Yeah, that's the problem. You're on this. They said, because it's Cornell and they do have a big living donor, like, that's one of their things they're known for. They're hopeful. They said it could take anywhere from like 3 months to like a year. But the problem is they want to, they explained, look, you look healthy right now outside, but physically inside, they're like, you're a mess. So it's tough. You don't know. It's a numbers game. It's a chance game. Like, let's say 50 people show up. Maybe I'll be lucky if I can find one or two. That would be a perfect match. They did explain to me, though, with the donors, because that was the other consideration. I'm like, it's a big ask. It's like, hi, how you doing? Hey, can I have some of your liver? Because don't want to die. But I
don't mean to laugh. It was just the way you
Please.
say it is just funny, because that's your personality.
I honestly and that's been my problem. I got that Irish humor. Like, you're dealing with bad stuff. You have to laugh. Otherwise, I'm coming at this now. This is now 3 weeks into it. I didn't go public with this because for 2 weeks, I literally was just a mess. a mess, and also in a bit of denial. And then now it's hitting hard. It's hard when you have to think of um like the whole process and what the surgery is. Like, this is a tough surgery for me to go through. Now, what they said was the donors, though, the good thing with I guess Weill Cornell or New York Presbyterian Weill Cornell, they do it arthroscopically and robotically for the donor. So the donors, that's what else. I was like, I want to make sure that the donor is safe. So I want to choose a hospital that knows what they're doing, that's been doing this for a while. And so they said, if I literally just talked to them before I got on the show. They said, if I can find a match, it'll be about 2 to 5 weeks. The donor goes through just some whatever blood work screens, psychiatric screens to make sure that they are okay to deal with this. I guess they do some measurements, MRI, because you have to fit, their liver's got to be able to fit in my body. But that's could be, the woman explained to me today, 2 to 5 weeks. And then she's like, and the good thing is, if you have a living donor, you can schedule it. So I was like, so it's almost like a C-section versus having a regular birth. You can actually schedule it according to what the donor's schedule. If the donor's like, look, I prefer to do this in the summer, and if I can stabilize enough, then they're like, we would do it then.
Gotcha.
But yeah,
Amy, when you were in studio with us to be the FOP, you had the fortunate, or depending on your point of view, unfortunate experience of meeting Tony Walker, my producer, here on the show.
Tony!
And when we found out about your situation, it hit Tony pretty hard as well as me and my family. I'm sure Tony would want to say hello and a couple of words to Amy while we have her on.
Amy, I'm just going to tell you flat out, I'm a cancer survivor. I can't even give blood anymore due to my history, but because I would love to, I'm O positive. I would love to try, but yeah, I did go on the website and I tried to fill out the online form. I had some difficulty, so I didn't finish it. But I know they would most likely turn me away anyway. So I was hoping to get involved. But yeah, as a cancer survivor, I know. I have an idea of how you feel, and we're praying for you, and and nothing but positive vibes for you over here.
Well, I'm so sorry you went through that, Tony, and I like it, like people like you, I think that's the thing. I said to somebody, I said, man, now I know how George Bailey felt, and It's a Wonderful Life. And you sit there, and you're sitting there I don't matter to people, or you just feel so alone. I was sitting there in that ICU or sub ICU. I don't even know what it was. I was so out of it, and just my whole world was spinning.
Yeah.
And
it is a little cliche, but you get a different perspective. Absolutely.
Yeah. But how did you find the strength to get through it? I feel like some days I'm like, I can't do this.
Amy, I'm going to be honest with you. Like you, we're in Governor's Comedy Club. I had a big sense of humor, kept smiling my way through it as best I could, allowed myself plenty of moments to break down and feel bad for myself. But I'll be honest, the outcome, because I survived, it gave me a new outlook, and I made the best of it, and I just feel happy. I just feel like I'm a better person now. I actually feel it's one of the best things that ever happened to me, to be honest with you.
Wow.
So if you're okay with it, I'll get you a number from Peter, and I'm happy to take you, to the hospital, sit with you sometime. I do that for other cancer patients. I would love to.
Can you do stand-up, though? Can you do your stand-up act as I start to go under anesthesia?
But the idea is to make you feel. The idea is to make you feel good. You will, the stand-up will not help you. I promise you. So,
you're like, hey, let's talk ideas.
I'll steal other people's jokes. How about that?
Amy, I don't do stand-up, but I do know a way to put a smile on your face. I'll tell everybody. So 11 years ago, my son Bradley was playing Little League Baseball, and there was a charity all-star game that was taking place in our Levittown, Wantagh, Seaford community. And one day during the week prior to that game, we reached out to News 12 to come and cover it, and they sent this reporter by the name of Amy Mcgorry to cover the practice and talk to some of the kids. Not everybody is as talkative as my son Bradley, but we're gonna put that picture up of you interviewing. I texted it to you before, so I don't think you can see it while we're on the Zoom, but we're showing it to everybody of you, talking to Bradley, and not just this story specifically, but for you, all those years at News 12, and you're at Newsday TV now as well, and doing some other things. How cool has it been to cover stories like that, and to have that perspective of how tight knit a community everybody on Long Island has?
Well, that's the incredible that I turn to my sisters who have been like, gosh, they're like my force right now. But I said to them, I said, do you realize like Long Island, like these people are reaching out, like News 12, who obviously obviously a bunch of people are parted ways with News 12, but you're still that family. And then the viewers who knew, or people, I had some charities reach out to me like, hey, look, you covered for us. What can we do to help you? Like, I literally break down and cry over the goodness of people. And Long Island, how you are right. It's a small community. Everybody's got one another's back. Like, I went in, had to go for a procedure on Friday. They had to do more of that banding stuff. And the doctor, I said, I am lucky. And he's like, you're lucky. I said, I have met so many wonderful people throughout this career of reporting and anchoring, and they've really like come to support me, or even just a text to be like, hey, we're pulling for you. Like, that means so much. It sounds so cliche, but it's true. You're just like, oh my God. Like, some people will call up, like Andrew Rappaport one time when we covered the Super Bowl together, he had hurt his ankle and we had to walk like a mile from the stadium to the live shots. So I had to borrow, using my physical therapy degree, I was like, give me some athletic tape. So we're taping, and he's like holding out to me, and I'm like, we can do it, don't worry. I'm like, seriously, you got people on the field in the Super Bowl hurt.
Did you use Amy, did you use any of that athletic tape to cover Andrew Rappaport's mouth, which can be big sometimes?
Couldn't get that one done. Like, Rob Del Moro were like, the two of them were my first sports guys I've ever worked with. And they're the ones who broke. And you were one of the first that I've ever met. And I thought, oh my gosh, these three people who I started my career with in sports, you three came through like immediately. Like, it's still like that morning, I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you guys were up that early. You are with your updates.
All hours. Really quick before we let you go. Yeah. I got to get your thoughts on March Madness. I know you're a big Duke fan, and they're the number 1 overall seed. Do you see them going all the way?
You know what? I hate to say it. Like, no, I think they're going to fall. You know what? The only consolation thing I'll say, I think they'll make it to a point. I just don't see them going all the way. I love Rick Pitino, what he's doing for St. John's. Like, he's brought that back. Basketball is back in Queens. Love to see them go as far, but they're all in the same bracket. So I don't know. I'm going to hope for Duke.
Yeah.
Come on, Duke. But,
while you hope for Duke, we are all hoping and praying that you find the donor. You have all the love and support from everybody here, the Schwartz family, Cheryl, Bradley, and Jared.
Cheryl.
So I promised myself I was not going to do this, but
stop! Now you're making me cry. Listen, I cried all before this is why I'm wearing glasses. You can't see my red eyes.
I made it through the whole way right till the end. So as soon as I was going to bring up the camera.
Stand up now. Make Peter stop. Peter, stand up now, Tony.
Nah, sit your ass down, Tony. Don't get up. Amy, we love you, and we will stay in touch, and hopefully we can each put smiles on everybody's faces like you always do.
Oh, I can't tell you. Words can't express the gratitude I have for you and the Long Islanders and everybody who's reached out. Like, I don't know, my sports guys, my news people. Thank you all. I love you guys.
Thanks, Amy.
All right.
And again, scan the QR code that you see on the screen for more information, and follow along on social media. On Facebook and Instagram, Amy Needs a Liver. You can get all the updates on Amy from there and also from the QR code. And we thank Amy. We're a couple of minutes late. We're going to take a really quick break, get this word from the Embassy Diner. When we come back, we're going to be joined by sports betting expert Kelly in Vegas when we come back right after this. Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
Thank you,
And
guys.
I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sportsbash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Welcome back
I'm
to
Peter
Sports
Schwartz.
Bash,
I'm
presented
Vinny
by
Tickets.
We want to take a
Ticketbash.com
moment
and the
to
Ryan
talk about
Anthony
our
Head
fantastic
Start
sponsor,
Fund.
the Embassy Diner.
Again, our
Embassy
thanks
Diner
to
has been a beloved
Amy Mcgorry
staple in the
for
restaurant
joining us,
industry for over 50
in the last segment to talk about her situation, looking for a liver. Again, we showed you the QR code on your screen. So if you want to go backwards after the show is over, get that QR code, follow along Amy on social media. You'll be able to get all the deets on how you can help Amy Mcgorry, our good friend, here on the show. Splash Sports is a peer-to-peer contest and social gaming platform. It is the home of NCAA basketball, Survivor, and college hoops contests. Representing Splash Sports is sports betting expert Kelly Stewart, also known as Kelly in Vegas on social media, and she joins us here on Sports Bash. Kelly, it's Peter. How are you?
Hey, Peter, doing really well. Getting ready to head back out to Vegas bright and early, but lots of work to still be done before then.
This is a great time of the year. There's so many things going on. We're also getting ready for the start of the baseball season. The hockey and the basketball playoffs are coming up, but starting tonight, it is what they call March Madness. For you and your line of work, especially with what you're involved with right now with Splash Sports, how exciting are these few weeks going to be for you?
Oh my gosh, it is truly the madness. I think it is really arguably the best time of the year. I love the college football playoffs. Of course, you love other playoffs, Stanley Cup and so forth, but there's something about the next 3 weeks headed up to the national championship that is just electric.
Over $4.5 million in contest prizes across the tournament, including Kelly's $250,000 Survivor Madness contest. And when people look at the field, obviously everyone loves filling out the brackets, and some people like to go chalk and always go the high seeds all the way through. There's always going to be an upset somewhere along the line. How do you go about putting your bracket together? Do you use chalk at every time or at any moment in time, or is there a deep dive that needs to go into some of these mid-major teams that punch their ticket to March Madness?
You know, here's the problem with the recency bias. Last year, I got smoked as a dog better, right? No dogs won outright. That's not true, but it sure felt that way. I mean, I'm sitting in the booth in Vegas going, could it get any worse by Friday afternoon? Where are the underdogs? And I think the cream has started to rise to the top, whether it's the NIL, the transfer portal. But I do think some dogs are going to be barking. It's sifting through and finding out those matchups that I think are going to put these bigger schools, blue bloods, SEC teams with more prominent histories, if you will. Those are the teams I'm still looking to bet against. I had a bookmaker out in Vegas text me this morning. He said, of course, we're charging a premium, especially on the money line for some of these favorites, because they know every single person's going to walk up to that counter. They're going to want to place money line parlays on the 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4 seeds after what we saw last season.
We're talking to Kelly in Vegas all about the NCAA tournament and the other sports going on as well as the project she's involved with Splash Sports, the knockout, the survivor pool. It's just like a football survivor pool, but in this case, it's the NCAA tournament. 1 pick per round. You can enter Splash contests from over 40 states, including New York, at www.splashsports.com. And that adds an exciting element to March Madness, where you have this football survivor pool type of situation here for the NCAA tournament.
Oh my gosh, I love being a commissioner on Splash. When I lived in Vegas for a significant amount of time, we did a lot of work with the casinos out there, and you would have to fly out, hire a proxy, and then submit your picks remote. Now you don't have to. Splash is live in 40 states. A lot of people know them from Run Your Pool, Office Football Pool, but now all of your contests are in one secure location. So I do tons of stuff with them year round, but Survivor Madness has been my favorite. We've been doing it for 3 years now. And 2 years ago, we saw an absolute chaotic event day one. Right out of the gate, Duquesne beats BYU, and the chaos just ensued. Last year, as you mentioned, the chalk just kept coming through, and I kept waiting to see. This year, I hope we get a few first-round upsets to thin the herd in the field. There's going to be over 11,000 people in my contest, $250,000 guaranteed for just a $25 entry.
So speaking of first-round upsets, here in New York, we've got 3 teams in the New York area going to March Madness. Of course, St. John's, champions of the Big East, and I'll ask you about St. John's in just a second. But we also have Hofstra and Long Island University getting in, and there's so much excitement on those 2 campuses. Look into your crystal ball. Any chance whatsoever that LIU or Hofstra can be that Cinderella and win a game here?
You know, the interesting thing about Hofstra is how they match up tempo-wise against Alabama. Now, I did bet Hofstra early before the Holloway news came out, and they just seemed to only move a point for Alabama losing one of their best players. I thought was really interesting, right? He's a very significant contributor for that basketball team, and we know he is not going to be allowed to leave the state. So be wary if you are betting Bama. But I have Hofstra 12.5 in pocket. I mentioned to you that I thought that the bookmakers were making you pay a premium here. And of course, Alabama being one of the fastest teams in college basketball, being one of the best offenses, they don't beat themselves by turning the ball over, but they've been exploited by lesser foes several times this year, by Texas, by Tennessee, Georgia, Ole Miss, right? This is not a team that I think Nate Oates loves. You can tell there's frustration coming from him this year. And we've seen them have several first-round exits in prior years. Is Hofstra going to win this game? I think if they're going to, they're going to have to really shut down Alabama defensively. They're going to have to make sure that they don't get points in the paint. 12.5 is too many. It's down to 11.5. But would I be shocked to see Hofstra win this game? Absolutely not.
There you go. So let's go Pride in the first round. And, of course, there's St. John's, the champions of the Big East 2 years in a row. Kelly, I thought they got the short end of the stick with the 5 seed. They beat UConn 2 out of 3 times, including for the Big East championship. But they're the 5 seed and getting started with Northern Iowa. How far can you see Rick Pitino and the Red Storm going in March Madness?
It's funny you're asking me about the 2 underdogs that I happen to really like the most. Northern Iowa. I mentioned how
don't say that. Come on, don't say it. Don't say that.
Absolutely, I do. I love this Northern Iowa team. They are methodical. They are slow. Ben Jacobson has them just smothering teams. I will say this, and this is where they're going to frustrate me late. Their free throws. They're free for a reason, boys. Hopefully they can make them down the stretch and get the cover for us against St. John's. I agree with you. I thought St. John's did get a little shafted, but we knew the committee still had to give Dan Hurley and UConn that 2 seed. But St. John's, I do think was impressive down the stretch, but they stumbled a few times this year. And it was really frustrating. That one really bad loss at UConn, that home loss back to Providence is still in my head from early January. I do like what Pitino did in the locker room the other day, and I did bet them against UConn when he told them, I don't know where you guys are from, but you're incredibly soft. That just was like, all right, now we know who I'm betting. So if he gives one of those speeches, look out Northern Iowa. They may get run out of the gym. But I do think from a defensive standpoint, the tale of 2 teams, right, with both of them, whether it's Hofstra and Alabama, whether it's St. John's and Northern Iowa, I am an old school dog better, so I love those smothering defenses.
Let me switch gears a little bit, get to baseball. We're getting ready for the Yankees and the Mets here in New York. Yankees coming off a trip to the playoffs last year, the World Series the year before. The Mets did not make the playoffs last year, but I think the Mets got better in the offseason. What's your early thoughts on where the Yankees and Mets might finish this year?
I thought you were going to ask me about the WBC. I'm so excited about this game tonight.
I know, me too. But I think I'm going to be watching the Islander game and then switching over to the baseball afterward.
We'll just do the split screen
Yeah.
tonight. I can't wait to not do anything for the next 3 weeks. Here's the funny thing. My best friend, the prop queen, Ariel Epstein, is a New York resident. She's a huge Yankees fan. So she gets mad at me whenever I say I want to bet against these teams naturally, because I think built in, you are paying for all those World Series rings. But looking at this stacked lineup once again, the Yankees are going to lose games they're supposed to win, and that's what they always do. But I agree with you. As far as the Mets go, this is a Mets team. They've put a lot of money into this roster. We kept joking that at any point in time, are they going to buy some players that don't just play outfield? But now we're excited to see what they've got coming up here. I think the Mets might surprise people. They've spent a ton of money. I think they're ready to go, and I think they're ready to compete with the Yankees there in New York. If I have to say whether I would take the over on their season win total, I would lean that direction.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it's going to be a good baseball season for both teams. Last thing, and we appreciate your time, and this might be the most important question I ask you this entire interview. Are my New York Islanders going to make the Stanley Cup playoffs?
Ooh, that's interesting. Stanley Cup odds have been kind of all over the place. My Vegas Golden Knights will not. Shout out to everybody who knew that just a few short weeks ago. I was holding on a little bit of hope, but I did find it really interesting as you start to look to see all the way down the list. The Islanders are 50-1 to still win the Stanley Cup. I think that means they probably get a squeak in. Right?
Yeah, I would hope so.
I think they'll get a squeak in. Obviously, I don't think they're going to win the Stanley Cup, but I think that from that perspective, you guys are going to get in. You guys are going to probably be an 8 seed there in that whole round of the beginning. And maybe you guys can surprise people and steal a game or two, move on to the next round of the playoffs.
Well, let's hope you are right about that. Kelly in Vegas, we thank you so much for joining us here on the show. Good luck and with everything going on with Splash, and enjoy March Madness as we head towards a national champion.
Thanks, Peter.
You got it. Kelly in Vegas. I just hope she's right about the Islanders. I mean, it doesn't matter. Anybody, look, I've seen the Yankees win 27 times in my life. I don't need to see another one. I'd like to see my family get a Met World Series. I think that would be nice. But the one thing I really would, well, there's actually two things in life I would like sports-wise. I was a year and a half old when the Jets won, so I've been kind of waiting a long time for that. But I would like to see the Islanders squeak into the playoffs. I think that would be great for the young players on the team, including Matthew Schaefer, if they can figure out a way to squeak in. We are going to run a little overtime, and Tony said that was okay given the circumstances, so we have to go backwards a little bit here and get to what's hot at ticketbash.com. The NCAA tournament gets underway tonight and tomorrow with the first 4 in Dayton. March Madness kicks into high gear on Thursday, so check out ticketbash.com for all your March Madness ticket needs. Tonight, the Knicks host the Pacers at the Garden. Tomorrow, the Rangers host the Devils, and the Nets host the NBA champion Thunder. On Friday, the Knicks visit the Nets. On Sunday, NYCFC will host Lionel Messi at Inter Miami at Yankee Stadium. That's going to be a tough ticket. You'll have to go to ticketbash.com to get in the building. Also on Sunday, the Islanders are back home to host the Blue Jackets, and while the Knicks host the Wizards, if you go into the Knicks game, wave, I might see you there because I'm going to the Knicks-Wizards game on Sunday night. Concerts and shows will start with UBS Arena. Barry Manilow will be in concert April 13th at the Garden. Lady Gaga in concert March 19th and March 20th, and WWE Monday Night Raw on March 30th. And don't forget, if you want to go out to Vegas for WrestleMania, you can get tickets at ticketbash.com as well. Get the best seats at the best prices with no service fees at ticketbash.com. Coach's Collectibles is next. Yes, Tony is nodding his head in approval. It's time for the Coach's Collectibles item of the week, and you're going to have to pay attention very carefully because this kind of threw me for a little bit of a loop yesterday. Coach's Collectibles, your number one source for 100% authentic sports memorabilia and live public autograph events. I will fully admit, when Dom from Coach's Collectibles sent me this image, I thought right away it was all about Matthew Schaefer. But again, just follow with me here for a second. Coach's Collectibles presents a new mystery box series. There are 10 Mystery Islander 16x20 autograph photos. One of those boxes has Matthew Schaefer in there. So there's 10 boxes, One of them has Matthew Schaefer. For more information, go to coachescollectiblesny.com, and we'll tell you about the next public autograph event. And this is going to be a good one. If you're a movie fan, a fan of this guy, this is going to be a great event to go to. Wednesday, March 25th, Chaz Palminteri will be at Fox Hollow Country Club in Woodbury. Photo ops are at 6:30, then the autograph session from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Check out Coaches Collectibles online at www.coachescollectiblesny.com and use code SPORTSBASH for free shipping on all of your orders. Upcoming shows. This Thursday, we're still looking for one more guest, but we do have one guest booked for this Thursday. We're going to be joined by Matthew Jolis. He is the president and CEO of Gotham Sports and Entertainment. His group is bringing indoor soccer to New Jersey later this year. Independence FC will launch in Newark this December, so we're going to talk to Matthew about that. Again, for whatever reason, I like these niche sports. I grew up going to New York Arrows games at Nassau Coliseum, Shep Messing, Steve Jungle, Bronco Segota, all those guys, and I'm excited that the sport is coming back to the area. There's the Major Arena Soccer League now, and we're hoping, Matthew, I mentioned this on the show on Thursday, if Matthew's group is bringing indoor soccer to New Jersey, if they have a few extra bucks left over in their wallet, if they want to bring a team out here to Long Island, I'd be more than happy to talk to them about that, because I loved indoor soccer. That was so much fun when the Arrows played at Nassau Coliseum. So we are going to talk to Matthew Jolis about that on Thursday. Now, next Thursday, March 26th, this is going to be a good spot. We'll be joined by former Giants assistant coach Kevin Gilbride, who will be honored by his alma mater, Southern Connecticut State University, on June 4th. Gilbride was a player and a head coach at Southern. He was also the head coach, this is where I met him a couple of times, head coach of the New York Guardians of the XFL in 2020. Didn't even get the whole season with them because the season was cut short because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So we'll have Kevin Gilbride on the show next Thursday. Kevin also has done a little broadcasting, I think, in the NEC. So a lot of things to talk about with Kevin next Thursday on the show. Thursday, April 2nd, the next installment of FOP. Earlier in the show, we had our first one, was Amy, about a year and a half ago, Amy Mcgorry, and we've had a whole bunch of different FOPs on the show, some really, really good ones, and I'm looking forward to this one as well. I'll be joined for the whole hour by NHL.com managing editor Brian Compton. Brian was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in June of 2024. Walk MS 2026, May 16th at Jones Beach, starting at 10 a.m. You can join Brian's team. That's B-Comp. That's his nickname, B-Comp. You can join Team B-Comp by scanning the QR code that you see on the screen. And by the way, thanks to MSG Networks, I stole that image from your video. Brian was a guest on during the Islander game on Friday night. I couldn't find the QR code anywhere else. So we took this picture from MSG's broadcast of the Islander game of Brian talking to Shannon Hogan last week on the Islander game. So we look forward to having Brian here on the program on April the 2nd. That was a lot to get in 1 hour.
I'm impressed.
I mean, could Hershey and the Key pull this off?
Well, it takes two of them to pull it off.
Yeah, well, yeah.
One man.
I'm one, but I have a cast of thousands around me.
True.
Not always here, but I do have a cast of thousands around me. Well, that will do it for a very, very hectic and fun-filled and bittersweet edition of what's the name of the show? Sportsbash, presented by Ticketbash.com and Ryan Anthony's Heating and Air Conditioning Service. Sean Connors, my friend, I forgot to thank him again as well. He brought in the grand. Let me hold it up before the end of the show. Again, can we just get back to me for a second?
Yeah, you're on.
Oh, there we go. There we go. There's the picture. And again, you can go to Sean Connors' Instagram and Twitter and order this beautiful Matthew Schaefer print that I may have to stop at Michael's on the way home and get a frame for that. This is a 16 by 20?
16 by 20.
16 by 20, thank you. So I'm going to go and pick up. Did you autograph it?
Yep, I signed it
did?
as well.
Wow,
Yeah.
how about that? all kinds of good stuff on St. Patrick's Day. Luck of the Irish and Jewish on St. Patrick's Day. Thanks to my guests, Amy Mcgorry and Kelly Stewart. Thanks to, and Tony Richardson, because he was a surprise guest. I didn't put him in at the end. Former Jet Tony Richardson joined us at the beginning of the show from the Marty Lyons Foundation group that marched in the St. Patrick's Day Parade. So thanks to Tony, and to Tony Walker, the other Tony, everyone here at Governors. Thanks to our social media coordinator, Leanne Burgess. Sports Bash is sponsored by Embassy Diner in Bethpage, Coaches Collectibles, and by the Marty Lyons Foundation. Thank you, everyone, for watching and listening. We are back on Thursday at 1 o'clock. Really quick, let's go USA tonight. Let's go Islanders tonight. Have a great day. We'll see you on Thursday.